moving side to side, getting out sweaty. Make it work it out. Turn the volume up loud. It's a draw crowd, make it all shout. Go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Hit play on the track and now I'm ready. Like a quarterback, Tom Brady. Got you all in the frenzy. Go crazy. Go crazy. Go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Go crazy. Go crazy. Go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Go crazy. Go crazy. All the way from the O to What's going on, good people? What is going on? It is Tuesday, tired Tuesday, okay? I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired all day. I'm ready on this Tuesday, all right? But we have made it here to the scoop, and it is time yet again for us to do what we do, all right? So sit back, charge it, plug it up, send the babies on out the room. And let's get ready to have us a good show on tonight, okay? If this is your first time hanging out with the crew, welcome. You have picked a great night to hang on out with the fam, okay? It's going to be a good show. So I implore you to do as I just said, to get your charger, get comfy. It's about to be a good night. If you are returning to the fold, fam, hey y'all, welcome. Are you ready? I hope you got your swipes and your Twitter fingers ready for the scoop tonight, because we gonna need y'all active in this comment section. Okay. Speaking of the comment section, now's the time for you to come on in, get acquainted. Hey everyone. If you would please drop your city and your state in the comments section of where you are tuning in from on this evening. We would greatly appreciate it so much. And while you're down there, if you would also please hit that good old share button. Hit that share button so your people know where you have checked in and are hanging out with us on this evening. Hey sis, yes ma'am. So yeah, go ahead, hit that share button, because we are ready to go ahead and get it in tonight. All right. But after you do that,
all right,
okay. Hey, what's up, cousin? Yes, that's the legit fam coming through. Okay. So hey, honey. But yeah, it's gonna be a good show. So I don't want to hold us much longer. I want to tell you, if you can't stay all night, if you can't stay to the whole show, first of all, you want to stay the whole show. Okay, you want to make it to that back end of the scoop this evening. But if you can't, all right, we want to let you know that there are replays available for your listening pleasure and your viewing pleasure, because we got options out here, okay? Because we done broaden the reach a little bit. So if you can't watch, you got a listen option, okay? And we're going to tell you about that here in a minute. But you can lock in with us wherever you like to get your social media on. We are available out here on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. You can follow us on YouTube at The Scoop Show, on Facebook at Real Scoop Show, and on Instagram at The Scoop Radio Show. We are also, y'all, we are out here on SoundCloud, okay? So if you're not available to sit and watch all of the expressions and things that we got going on here live on the replay, you can always and forevermore catch us on SoundCloud and by following The Scoop on there as where as well. I just read I just replied to him. Yeah, y'all know I don't talk and type well. I do not do that well. I multitask in a lot of ways, but talking and typing and all that, I don't do that well. So yeah. But anyway, check us out on SoundCloud as well for that good old audio version. You know, you hitting that treadmill, that morning workout. Do it with the scoop. Work out with the scoop. Okay. All right, but after that, I'm done. How you doing, bro? How are you?
I'm good. I am ready. I have my water and I have my other stuff as well because I figure this is gonna be a 2-cup night.
Listen.
So, yeah.
Well, I have my limeade. I've learned to not scoop and drink, so I try not to do that here lately because you know my lips already get reckless, so I don't need to add liquor to that.
You are using wisdom, huh?
I like dark liquor, so I get real. We won't be getting sponsored. There will be no ads run when I drink.
It's just wine. It's just wine. A little wine. That's it. I can't do nothing more than that. It'd be real reckless in here, y'all. We both get loose.
I know myself. Okay, so I've watched my replays when I had sips, and I'm good. Just saying.
I get you. Self-aware. That's what's important.
That's it. Always.
Well, how you doing?
I am doing well.
Yes, you are.
I'm doing well. It's been the last couple of days been a struggle for me. It's been fun, but it's been a struggle at the same time because you know, whenever there is new news like this, hey, I'm a Crown. I don't do Henny. I'm a Crown. I like my Crown. I like the smooth flavors of those. Yeah, that's how I roll. But Henny strong. Henny burn. I don't like it. Yeah. I don't want to. I'm a lady. I like to be able. I want to sip and be able to continue my thought, and then after. Yeah. I don't want to do all that.
I got
but
you.
Yeah, we on the same page though with the darks. We here. But yeah, whenever there's a new news cycle of this magnitude, you know, it's entertaining at first, but then for me, yes. See, my sis got me. She know. But you know, it's always that good. So now I'm on the downward. I'm on the downward for right now of this.
But we still got. It's a lot to talk about. We're gonna get into it, and we're gonna do it the way we do it.
And so, that's why I'm excited for now.
Yeah,
we're finally getting to have.
We're gonna get to have some adult conversation about this. So y'all stick with us. You ready to jump in these hot topics?
Let's do it.
All right. So this first one, we're gonna this first hot topic. Actually, do you want to? Hey, Steph, do you want to introduce this one?
Yeah. Are we going to be able to do the audio, or are we just going to summarize?
No, just summarize.
Okay. All right. So, and I'm glad Jamaica is on because I know she's going to offer some good commentary for this as well. So this was shared this was in the Clubhouse box, right?
Mm-hmm.
This was originally shared in the Clubhouse box for conversation for us, but this is something that I thought would also be very interesting to us here on this platform as well. So this video is basically our good sis on the top, and I feel like she is a good sis after listening to this video. When I hope you share the actual video to your page later so that the people can get all this goodness. But good sis at the top of the screen is basically explaining to the women on the bottom of the screen about how Black women pretty much perceive tears within the workplace from white women. Just gonna get it real plain so we don't have to do a whole lot of this. And how the tears of white women have been weaponized for evermore. And therefore, and it has been used to therefore put Black women on the opposing side of humanity. Meaning, if we were to cry, we do not get the same response as white women get within the workplace, especially when we are, as Black women, respectfully confront white women within the workplace for being just plain and simple out of pocket. If we actually hold them accountable for the microaggressions, for the I'm not even gonna give us the buzzwords tonight, for just all of the extraness that we know happens within the workplace. And when we hold them accountable for it, when we call it out, when we ask that it be corrected, when we stand up for ourselves, often we as Black women are met with the tears, and then it's, I never meant this, I didn't know, and now we're victim, they're the victims of the situation that we were originally, or our actual victims within that workplace. So that's what this video is pretty much talking about. And sis reads it, okay? Like, she holds nothing back. She's not disrespectful to the two women that are in the video. And they actually, you'll see sis on the right was nodding the entire time. You can see that they're at different points on the spectrum, I think. And the sis to her left, towards the end, I think it finally connected for her, and she was visually in, having some understanding and relating to the material that Ogro at the top was talking about. But she was not disrespectful, but she was extremely direct. She was very honest about the experience and what it looks like, what it is, what it feels like as a Black woman to experience it, all of those things. So this is something I really, really hope you all go back out and look at after the fact, but it was an amazing clip, and I thought, yeah, this is real. We gotta talk about this. So yeah, that's the thing. That's it. I'm gonna ask you though on this one, after watching this, what were your thoughts on this? Were you aware that this is what this feels like and what it shows up as in the workplace?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I've said I don't see this. I've experienced this. I've watched it, and I'm like, yeah, no. Like, I've watched this happen multiple times where I've seen the white woman tears used as a scapegoat to number one, try to put themselves in the same position. So they try to make themselves seem as like they're allies for Black women, and a lot of it's and my experience, especially in the industry that I was in, I even called out how the company was very, pro woman. We want to make sure women are seen and are part of leadership. But I was like, y'all do notice that it's only the white women y'all do this to, right? Like, this ain't, I don't see no Black woman who y'all are promoting or helping. Mm-hmm. Oh no, it's this. It's like, no, this is exactly what you all are doing. Like, you all are literally now using the people who helped you get this message out, and now you're using them as the same way that they were using that they were used. So no, you can't. And then they want to turn and cry about it.
Right.
Like, no, you can't do that. You can't help. You are not the victim here. Mm-hmm. You are the recipient. You are not the victim. So yes, I've absolutely seen it. I've absolutely seen it where it's you. Well, again, the tears are weaponized, where the tears are used as a defense to not have to take any responsibility. I've seen it. Yeah, it's a thing. Mm-hmm. Definitely a thing. And I've also seen. I'm not gonna go there. We'll talk about that later. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, go. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah, and it is true, and it's the tears, it's the level of, and sometimes it doesn't even go as far as tears. It can be just accountability as a whole is often minimized and often non-existent, based on the fact that the accountability is with her to have to a Black woman. We are now responsible for giving grace, for being forgiven, for being forgiving, for educating. Well, teach me, so that, well, I would like for you to help me understand. And, I think there's a time for education. There's a time and place where when we as Black women or Black people within a workplace will feel comfortable being a tour guide, so to speak, to what our experience is like within the workplace. But at the same time, that's not our responsibility. That should not be at all mentioned within the types of scenarios where tiers or accountability should be held. I think if that is the case, like if we have a scenario, we have a situation at work, okay? You say something that's a little off color, that is a lot off colors, just flat out, you don't say that, okay? Me as a Black person, a Black woman says to you, hey, coworker, I heard you said the thing's really not that cool. I was offended by the thing for XYZ reasons. I would like it if you don't say that thing anymore. Makes me uncomfortable, creates a thing, don't really know how to don't know what to do with that. I'd appreciate it if you just don't talk like that, period, here. What are you talking about? I didn't mean that. What are you saying? I mean, what? Like, I was just playing. It was just a joke. You got ha ha ha. No, that wasn't funny to me. I'm not laughing. I'm telling you, this is offensive to me. Please don't do that thing. Well, just why? Well, just show. Give me reasons why. Well, why is it not? At this point, this is where this goes left. This person, I've been respectful. I've explained to you this thing is not cool. I'm gonna need you to not do this thing. It makes me uncomfortable in this workplace. It is offensive to me. Even gave you the reasons. At this point, all right, coworker, I understand. Thank you for sharing that with me. I'll go on about my business. Appreciate it. That is when if you are really interested in changing that behavior and understanding the why behind why you don't say the thing, you go off and do your work. You do your research. You talk to people who you have not already offended first. Ask them, hey, I had a coworker. I said this thing. A coworker wasn't cool with that thing. They corrected me, told me not to say that thing no more. I really need to know why. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. I didn't know why this was the thing. That is how you grow. We are not that. I need everyone to understand that in this, especially now with DEI being so big, like everyone's diversity, equity, inclusion. I am a part of one of those groups at work. And that is still one of those very, very thin lines that, you have to learn how to walk. But like, especially right now in the workplaces, this is huge. And I think that has to be one of the foundations of having a program that actually speaks to both sides. Because when you get with the tiers and actually having the tough conversations, as opposed to just saying we're having them, and you actually really get to use the words and do the scenarios and the role plays and say what it feels like, that's not on us. We should not be leading those conversations. That in itself can become traumatizing. So I think that's something that we as Black folks Black folks that are listening have to remember that. And then those who want to be allies to the community, or those who are in marginalized groups, period, not just Black people, but marginalized groups that are affected by this work. You have to, there's also a level of protection while you're collaborating with them. It is the duty to protect those people also, or your work is in vain. It's just performative at that point.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth with that idea of, when is it not appropriate, but when is it like, I've gone back and forth with this thing of trying to feel like being the educator. And I've recognized that the wisest thing for me to do is to find out if is this an opportunity that I can give this, and if it's not, I need to let them, like, I can't educate you today. That's a tax I can't afford right now. Yeah, I think that's. I was going to say what I was saying was I go back and forth with should we even do it at all, but I think if we're in a position, part of me feels like if we're in a position to educate, then we should. If the person is really trying to listen, and if we have the capacity to do it, because I think there's a lot to it. I think there's a lot to the conversation aspect or the relational aspect that listening that's provided in those moments. But at the same time, I'm very aware again of the tax of our mental, emotional, the having to, because I know every time I tell the story of my own personal life, I now have to revisit this traumatic experience of these dudes calling me this name and fighting, and I'm like, yeah, now I gotta, go in my little corner and talk myself out of hating white people. Like I gotta go through all of this emotion. Like, no, they're good white people.
There's a meditation and affirmation process.
I gotta like, God's grace is sufficient. Like I gotta go through all of these things in myself to after doing that. So I think we have to be aware of that. I think that especially especially when we're talking about, again, since specifically we're talking about with white women, I think we also have to, like, listen. I think the hard part with them is just like it is with other groups. Yeah, is that again, is they actually in most instances still feel like they've been victimized. And anytime that other side feels like they're the victim, it's hard to get you to listen because now you're defensive, and this defense thing is just, no, I understand.
And then you become the confrontational one when you don't bend to the tears.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah. And when I've had the conversation, I'm like, I'm not suggesting you have not been a victim, but in this scenario,
you are not.
You are not a victim. So,
and just because I'm not outwardly emoting in the way that you are, does not mean that I have not been affected, victimized by this. Yeah, you are just, you are embarrassed. You might be frustrated. You might be a little pissed off and don't have a way to really say that you've been called out on whatever it is, even if you didn't know. Like, if it is true, that's always my thing that helps me to identify the genuineness, the authenticity of the I didn't know. If your I didn't know is it accompanied with some type of humility attached to it, where you are, I didn't know, oh, okay, and it's good. But if there is now, I then have to make you feel better on the other side of your ignorance, then did you really not know? Or is it that I called you out on the fact that I know that I see what this is? You know what I mean? If there is to that, is it really ignorance that you're trying to correct, or are you good with this? You know what I mean? Is it the fact that you've been just called out on it that is causing all of this? You know what I'm saying? Like and when we call that out, like, no, that ain't, if I would have not said nothing, you would have went right on about your business and said it again, or it would have got worse. So like, let's not cry now. Let's no. Nothing's been done to you for years.
Bring it back in.
Yeah.
So that's definitely, I believe it. I believe it's definitely a coping mechanism.
Yep.
Defense mechanism. Yep. Absolutely. All right. Anything else you wanted to add to that?
No, not tonight. Not tonight. I don't. Go watch the video, and I will definitely chime back in the comments. I will absolutely come back for that.
Yeah, it's on my page for those who want to hear. Don't go watch it now. Watch it later.
Yeah, stay right here for right now.
All right, so this one, so Larry Reed posts, these powerful colored women, Kamala and Ketanji, do not have black husbands. That's all. That's it. That's the post. So this went along with, I'm sorry, what's the name? Coffee and Cream
Conversations, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
I almost don't even want to say it because I'm not trying to big that page up like that.
Yeah. I mean, part of it's on my page anyway. So, but they wrote a post. I wouldn't say an article, but it's a post that the part of it that I found interesting. I'm trying to figure what's the word I want to say. Was Judge Jackson wouldn't be in the position she's in if she'd married a black male. Why? Because black males simply don't rise to the level of black women. And because black women often outshine their black male counterparts, it's just not in the cards for black women to be this successful with a black spouse in tow. And ultimately, if a black male is successful and he actually has a black wife, he expects her to take a back seat to support him because he always feels that you are his competition. He is competing against you. So that's a part of the post.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts?
So, my thoughts on this article, this post, were that it was very extreme. It went to the extreme sides of a very necessary conversation that, like it or not, Black women are having. So I'm going to say I'm not going to amen, wave my hands in the air to that portion of that. I am going to say that this is an issue in a lot of Black couples. This is an issue with our relationships, our dynamic, how we relate to one another, romantically and platonically, how we are talking about success in our homes and in our community right now. You can tell from the comments on your post with just the excerpt of it, where the women didn't go down the rabbit hole and shared a little bit of the experience that they've had when having conversations, when trying to advance in their careers and getting hit with the why does it look like, having a different conversation about what it looks like, why, the weight on me's, the I'm not ready, you're over, like all of those types of things are coming into the conversations, whereas these are conversations that they are not having when they decide to step out and date other races of people. So it's not pretty. It does not sound good. It is not sexy to say that this is an issue in our community. It might not be something that's being done purposely. So like, I'm willing to recognize the fact that this is a layered issue and there's factors to it. There's different things going on with it, but this is real. Like, and it might not be you. I completely understand that there is a group of evolved brothers who are looking for nothing more than successful, go forward and conquer the world sisters. I get that. If that's not you, then take this back to the rest of them, okay? But there are men who do have a problem with women who are upward moving. There's a reason for them. There's a need for them to shrink, for them to tamp down a little bit, to not boast the same way, to not celebrate the same way. It feels different. I don't know if it's ego, whatever it is. I don't know. That's what women are asking, and I'm just saying this comes up in different ways whenever there's a new Black woman who's gotten something great and beautiful, and she's got a white man. No matter if these people have been together since they was 15 years old and been through the trenches, okay? Like, no one cares. It's the fact that she's successful now and there is a white man with her. Why? So like, we have these conversations, whether it be inbox or for the public view, all the time about why or how this could come about. So I'm not going to go all down that extremities of what this particular post was saying, but this is real. This is real. And we need to talk about it and have a real conversation about it. We even see it in how our poster top, half of the posts that we talk about somehow, some way, root back to this type of issue, route back here.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, because I wanna. So I'm trying to. So okay. So I have two things. Number one, I have the reason why I struggle with this is my experience. In my experience, I have seen this same thing said and done across ethnic lines. So I've heard successful white women say the same thing about certain. So I will not sit here and say that this is not something that doesn't happen in our community, because I've seen it in our community, I've seen it other communities. Um, no, so I'll say that.
Mhm.
I also have to was sitting here thinking about, has there ever been a time where I was with someone and was this man? And I have to be honest and say that I can think of one time where I could say that I could have been this guy.
Mhm.
Um, sh- Not because I didn't want to push her into her, the greatness, because she was already doing it. She was
Right.
she was on it, but I couldn't. I remember not being able to fully participate because deep at the core of who what was happening inside, hey Evan, it was happening inside of me, was this fear of every time I see her get promoted, or every time I like there was this huge thing that was happening, I felt like she was getting further and further away from me, and I didn't know what to do.
Mhm.
So there was definitely, so I can definitely feel like I know what that, I can see what that feels like on some level as a man, to the point where, like, I don't know if the relationship would have worked had that not been there, but it definitely would have been probably a much better
What a
experience.
better shot. Yeah. Yeah.
He would have had a much better shot if it hadn't have been. So, so I'm sure it's there. I think my struggle with this is probably the nuances of this, and I don't try to make excuses for us
Mhm.
as men, but I think there are some nuances to this that need to be addressed, and like the fellas need to get in the room and have some conversation
Okay.
amongst ourselves to address it. But then I think there's also some other things that maybe we see like happening on a broader universal level that play into this, that I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know how we address it, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
But I think I want to say like it's a thing. It's definitely a thing.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know if it. I don't even know, to be honest with you. So part of me wonders: is this a um, what's the word I want to say? Like a difference of what success looks like now? Because I think in some instances, when I'm talking to some men, the like the high achieving, high set like that lifestyle for a lot of men, which I'm surprised by, is not something that they're really interested in. So
It's
it's like,
stressful.
so yeah, it absolutely is. So
Those types of that type of money is attached to a lot of stress, and
yeah, so
yeah.
they're like, yeah, I mean, she want that, but I don't want that. So but it seems like to in those conversations, it's more attached to like, but I feel like if I don't, then there's this disconnect between she and I, because now she sees me different because I'm comfortable with this comfortable life, and she's always chasing more, the next higher promotion, et cetera, et cetera. So, it's almost like a two different, in some instances I see like where there's just a different mindset. And so does that mean like it's just we're just not a good match, or I don't know. I think
Yeah, no, those are good.
so I don't know. I really don't know, but I see it. I see it. Now what I will say, what I don't like about this, I don't like this idea that this is, which is why I start, a white versus a white man, black woman thing.
Mhm.
I think that's utter trash. Again, I think there are some black men who fit this. There's some white men who fit this. There's just a man. There's just men, period, who are cut different and who are in different groups. I think you're going to find it. You're going to find it probably less in us, given the circle that you are in. But, yeah, yeah, yeah. I struggle anything that's pitting us against each other, to be honest with you. I like that. So
I don't necessarily see that it's. I don't know if it's. See, that's where I think we stop. This is where these kinds of conversations get to a stopping point, because I don't see it as pitting us against each other. I think this is identifying a why. We ask about why is this happening? And we villainize, because we do it, Black women do it when brothers go and get white girls. Like, we come up with the long list of cons as to why he shouldn't be over there, or the back, you know, the sly, slick, petty reasons of why they go to the white women, and none of them are positive. So, like, this happens on both sides. But I think the conversation that, if we're going to elevate this conversation, is those questions you couldn't really articulate just now, like those different pieces to this, the different layers of it that aren't excuses, but are actual real reasons that could be actioned, whether it be among the circle of fellas, whether it be together as a couple or as a community or whatever. But we have to begin to address these without the "you're coming for me." No, we want you, but you're asking us why we're coming for them as opposed to you. Like, that's the problem. Like, if that is the frustration. Y'all don't want us no more. Or by and large, that's what they're saying. Y'all don't want us, so y'all going over there. We ain't good enough no more. Y'all going over there. Never, what is it? Like, is that okay? Because if that is what it is, if y'all just good with not being good enough, I'm doing quotes because that's not what we're saying. But if that's essentially where I'm gonna throw my hands up, well, just F it then. You know, they don't want us within the fire. Go and get you a white man. Like, can we have the conversation as to what, even if that's not your intention? Because even in what you led with is like, could I have been this dude? Yeah, at one point, maybe. That was not your intention. You wanted to love her. You wanted to meet her. If anything, you wanted to keep moving along with her, and may not have known how to express that to a point where y'all's relationship could have actually flourished. That could have been a maturity issue, could have been where you were, like, whatever the case may be.
Right.
Those are the types of conversations that I think these ridiculous types of posts, when you really kind of dig through them and we get to them, we can have those conversations and possibly come up with a why and a solution to that, so we can start coming back. Because it's not just all Black women who have degrees now want a man that's making 6 figures plus. There are women who make high, that don't want that, and are fine with just living. Let me buy my house. Let me pay my bills on time. Let me have a nice little savings vacation a couple times a year, and I'm Gucci. You know what I mean? There's a lot of women who feel that way.
I actually think that this particular post, and in general, is less about the amount of money that the man makes, and more about the support that he gives.
Uh-huh.
And so I think that's why I brought in the idea of how I couldn't fully be present in a lot of those moments, because my ego was pulling at me while these things were happening. And a part of me, like, to be honest with you, again, a part of me was a little envious. Like, damn, like, why ain't my life? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I had to, like,
so there comes the competition.
So now I'm, in my mind, and so in my mind, it was more of, looking for other ways. Like, what other ways can I, do this? So I feel like, because again, it was never ever verbalized, that I can feel like I am contributing, or I am being the leader of this relationship. Mm-hmm. And so for me, again, I'm speaking about Winfred Burns II. In that moment was like, okay, I have to, like, let me, first of all, deal with me. And secondly, let me get a better understanding of what it means to lead in a relationship. Again, to not make her feel like I'm her competitive, to understand that what she's asking for is not for me to match her salary, but a lot of times she's asking me to match, to lead her spiritually, or to match this other thing, or to lead these things, because she's not tripping about paying for dinner. I'm tripping that she's paying for dinner, not her. She's cool. Like, hey.
Even in your example that you gave, as far as boy not wanting to have the high paying job, but she wants to keep moving, they can still be together. Mm-hmm. If she is all right with him being content and working and doing his best at the level that he is feeling his best at working, and that's okay for her, and then that's also okay for him to let her continue to move up the ladder. He's cool with going to yet another promotion party, or throwing another dinner for Bae, because it's that time again. Bae did it again. Like, if you're okay with still doing that, and she's okay with answering the question, girl, you paying out. Like if y'all have those understandings, yes, you can still be together. But like you have to confront those things, have those conversations, and then you can have a relationship. But we're not. That I think is where a lot of us are not excelling in this relationship thing because we're just not talking about it.
Yeah.
Because we're feeling like it's a fight, and that's not really what it is. We just need to have an understanding of what our support is going to look like so that we both feel like we're getting what we need out of this.
What our support looks like and what our honor looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think there's also the idea of as both people, still no matter what position you're playing, both people should be honored, valued, supported in that position. Mm-hmm. So yes, we do need to have the conversation as to what does it look like me supporting you. And then also, okay, so I want to make sure that as you're doing this, I recognize the sacrifices that you're making, or I recognize even, culturally how this can look. So I want to make sure I'm honoring you still in this. And both ways.
That matters. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That to me is not being small. That is understanding the world that your spouses are moving out in. That is understanding that this is what questions that my man is being asked and the conversations my man is being confronted with our situation that they don't have an inside look into. So this is what he's dealing with. And then this is what she's dealing with the society and going out into the world knowing that this is our situation. So when we come back under this roof, we are giving each other what we need to refuel, go back out there and do what we do. We're going to be on one accord saying, don't ask me no questions about that house. We good over here. Like if that's, you know what I mean? Or if y'all going to go through the rigmarole of explaining it, but like having that understanding and honoring that and making sure that there's no deviation from that. We going to be good because we good. That it can absolutely work. But they're not competing. They're collaborating at that point. Absolutely. That's a collaboration so that they can compete with the rest of the world, not within that household.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I could tell more about this story, but I won't. All right. I got it.
It's layers, baby. This show is a show of layers. There's so many layers to these topics.
All right. So you have to be mature enough to understand that you have some toxic traits too. It's not always the other person. So I posted this question and I posed the question, do you know what your toxic trait is? And what are you doing? Like I said, what are you doing about it? I think is how I worded it.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. I thought this was a good one because a lot of times our conversation or what I find with a lot of people is everything is about the other person, what the other person did. And then, or if we do talk about ourselves, we minimize our toxicity and minimize the impact of what our toxicity, our dysfunction bring to relationships. So I just wanted to see, what people would respond. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, you were right in line with how we do. Because that is exactly right. It is easy to identify toxicity in others. Rarely do we are we so quick to call it out on ourselves, and we don't see it the same way. We just a little sick. It ain't poisonous. We just a little sick. Like we be all right. And knowing other people looking at you like, no, not at all.
You got the whole Rona going on. It's just a cold.
Quarantining, okay? Right. And you wonder why your folks is running for they quarantining from your toxic self. That's what they're doing. But yeah, so this was good. I answered this question with 2 of my identifiable toxic, 2 of many. My traits are plural because I understand if we're going to use toxic as the word to identify the thing that needs to be fixed, I got a couple. But which I think we all do if we're just going to be really honest with ourselves. If you've been watching the show for a while, I've been on a deep dive into Q Willis for the better part of a good little minute. So I'm very open with the things I need to work on, and I don't have no problem sharing them. But I know that I withdraw when something is wrong. I don't like confrontation. Even like the kind that I'm justified in, that should be had, I don't like confrontation. Like I get the whole, like my breath quickens and my palms get like, I do not like confrontation because for two reasons. I just don't like drama. I don't like doing the whole back and forth thing. I don't like arguing in general. But then I also recognize that I can go farther than I need to when I really don't want to be doing this in the first place. Like I said what I said and I didn't had to repeat myself too many times. Like when we get to that level, because everyone doesn't have the same type of conversation that I have. It's gonna just stick with the like when we start to go off into these other things, and I'm gonna go right on with you. And I don't really come back as fast as some other folks do. And I know that about myself. So that is also a response in myself. Especially if I care about you, I'm really trying to save what I know I could do if given enough opportunity to this relationship. Okay, like I know that about myself, so I will drop if I know there's some stuff that I got to say. I'm not gonna give you them right off the cuff things I got to say. You're not gonna get those when you finally get. Might feel like it when you finally get it, but trust and believe that is not what I was initially gonna say. So I'll take it in. I will draw, get quiet. I get non-communicative. I ain't got nothing to say. It's not hard, but it is not soft. You know what I'm saying? It is not the me that you usually get. And that can go on for 2-3 days until I've had the conversation in my head.
Yep.
The good, the bad, the ugly, what you gonna say, what I'm gonna say, what you might like. I done did the whole thing. The good, you were good. Oh, we gonna be grown today? Oh, okay, cool. That could work. Mm-hmm. All right. Like I done talked me out of it. What did I do wrong? Q, you shouldn't have said that. Now you go make sure you apologize for that when you get it. Like when you do have this conversation, make sure you leave with that. You know what I mean? So like I have all of that goes on. And the problem with that is often I've done all of this internal stuff. The time has come and gone to have the conversation, the confrontation, come to the solution. Now I'm out of pocket if I bring it up because that's old shit now. Like, why are you bringing up? Like, why are we here? It's been 3-4 days.
So that's over. We done moved on.
And I recognize that was causing resentment in me. I had all of this undealt with stuff with these people that I love so much. So I'm continuously pouring out me and doing the things because we back good now. That's old now.
Absolutely.
And I never had a chance to deal with what I do. So when we do finally have that confrontation that I could not withdraw from those, because that happens too. When I don't get the time to check myself, there's no timeout time. We just in this thing now. And then it's all the stuff that I should have, would have, could have said is now in the midst of this moment. And now I'm super apologizing. You know what I mean? Like we got to go through all of those things. So like that had to stop. That almost cost me my marriage. It's cost me a couple, friendships. Like that did not work for me. So now I have to work better at doing my timeout real fast in my brain. It's like, girl, working through what he said. They said, okay, yeah, you can say that. Okay, now this part, this right here, this thing. I don't like when you do that thing. I'm gonna need us to work on this right here. And I've gotten a lot better at that. And I think the people in my life have learned to appreciate that. They respect that more than when I do the whole run and hide thing. That ain't cute. When you still here? You dropped off for me. What happened to you, baby? Are y'all seeing what I'm seeing? When? There we go. He's back. You left me hanging for a minute. You left the homie on stuck.
I was like, what happened? What happened? You just went off. I was like, wait.
Yeah. But no, I was just basically saying now I do that whole process a lot faster. I try to say in the moment, hey, this thing right there, that I don't like that. Can we work on that? And I try to have less confrontational conversations to address what I need to move forward. I don't mind apologizing. I don't mind owning my stuff, but like we got to get this out now before you don't feel it like I feel it, or you don't understand that this is how I feel it, and we can move on. I need that for me so we can do what we need to do.
Yeah. Mine was very similar, but I had to go down the layers. And what was interesting that so like I do the withdrawal thing. I do the like I used to always like one of my prayers for years has been God, like teach me and help me to process faster. Uh, because anybody who knows me knows that I will like I'll process something for 6 months. And like 6 months ago when you say such and such, and if you think 3 or 4 days is long, like my father now he'll tell you he'll be like I never know how that boy feeling because I said something 3 months ago and he's still thinking about it, and it's true.
Yeah.
Like because I'm like same thing, like all of the different ways, all of the So what I had to come to the conclusion was a lot of it, which my toxic trait was just really not having enough belief in myself. And so I was allowing myself to see or to be this lower person that I really am not, because I didn't think that my voice was important. I didn't think that nobody wanted to hear what I had to say. I thought that I was, I'm not the most intelligent person, and like all of these things. So having to be like, dude, these are all lies that you are.
Yeah, that we're telling ourselves.
That to me was the toxic trait that I realized I had to realize that I was holding on to. And in relationships, that would show up because that would show up in multiple ways, whether it was from withdrawing from conversations, or it would even show up in times where I would just like, if you hurt me, instead of saying that, I would just go cheat on you and be like, all right, I feel better. I would.
I mean, that's I don't know that you. So to hear that from you was like, that was what we did. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I can feel that. Yeah.
And be like, but then again, just realizing just how immature that was.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, that's not how I choose to show up in the world. I can't do that. Like I have to be this, I have to, live into and be really not so much what other people see, but what I know is inside of me. So yeah, that was a hard one for me to be honest about. Like the toxic part of the part of my relationships that is bad is that sometimes I don't show up because I'm being super insecure, and I have to deal with that because I recognize again, there really is no place in my life. There's no place in my life where I'm not leaving. No place. So I have to remind myself that this is, and that's not for everybody, but that's what the expectation of myself, or that's my, lot in life, let's call it. So I have to just own that and like, okay, cool. It is what it is.
Yep. I think we all have, those of us, I don't think everyone does, because there are a lot of people, I know and love a lot of people who are like, no, don't put me in them boxes. I'm going to be me, my full human self, all the damn time. I don't want you to put me on no pedestals. I don't want you expecting no whole lot of me. If I win, I win. If I don't type folks. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm with those types. I feel I probably envy those types of people that don't have to have a thing all the time. Don't, that are just, leave me alone. Like if I show up, but y'all ain't gonna miss me because you know how I ain't on the program. I'm enjoying the experience. I'm just happy to be here. I love those types of people, and I actually have learned to keep those types of people around me because they slow me down because I'm not one of those types of people to the point of I drive myself crazy. And now my point is when we identify those things about ourselves, we have to fix them, but also identify what they were doing, what they were covering in our personalities they were in a way keeping that part of us protected. Because the reason why I know I can't always confront folks is because I'm the high road person. I'm the, hey, I'm the positivity. We're going to work it out. I'm the voice of reason. I'm the logic. So I can't get bucked. Like I can't tell you who you're talking to. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm the one that's supposed to be easy breezy, and I understand what you mean. However, this is like, no, but in the inside, I'm like, one more time here. You know what I mean? So like I have to, for me to still feel like I can be grounded as Shaquila, the woman, not the public figure. You can be when the man,
Absolutely.
not the pastor.
Absolutely.
All the other hats. We have to allow ourselves those
Absolutely.
moments to show up as who we are in the moments. And this is,
and I think there's another dimension of that too. I'm always who I am, but I also have to recognize that there are certain spaces that everybody can't handle that, and so I have to be prepared for the response of me being who I am in all of these spaces. So, and then of course there's a level of maturity. With maturity comes the idea of being able to I don't want to use the word manipulate, but like I can say things in certain spaces and it's not a big deal. And I can say the same in another space and it's like, oh my God, like it's just I know my setting. Like I know my setting.
Read the room. You gotta read your room.
Yeah. So it's like, that language is not gonna work well here, but it'll be super impactful over here. So I have to learn how to do that. But again, that's I think to some extent most people have something like that, but I think again, depending on who you are, the way you move, where you move, like you have to be able to navigate, like you said, reading the room well,
Yeah.
So
it's an art.
It is. It's very much so an art. Bit tiring one at times, but yeah, nevertheless it is. What's next?
Tamika, I want to call out your comment about Auntie Circle's got to teach apologies. Yes. That is something we do not do well, ladies. Ladies, specifically. Aunties, mama nims, teach your girls how to say, I apologize, and mean it, and support it, and take action on it. We do not do that enough. And we have got to do better at that. It just is what it is. I can't put no caveats, no asterisks, no quotes around it. Learn how to say I'm sorry. When you wrong, own it, put some action behind it, and in the moment, don't make them wait until it's, that thing, you wrong. Apologize.
Yeah, let's see what Jessica says. She said, I would have to say my choice of words is my toxic trait. Learning not everything needs to be said that comes to my mind. Same as Q. I will shut down. I will not entertain a conversation I'm not interested in. Yes.
Yeah, my scroll game is strong. I will also scroll right on.
We call her she is the petty president of our family. Vice president. Woo, because I'd be like, whoo, ouch. Ooh. Ooh, that hurt. I'd be like, man, okay.
Sometimes it needs to be said.
It does, which is why I'm perfectly okay with her saying it. It's like, don't say it to me. I'm like, ow.
That last one got me though. I super identify with that one. I'm not gonna sit here and go back and forth about something I have no interest in. I was straight and move right on. Just not interested. I'll shut it down quick. Yep, Stephanie Capricorns. Shanae. I love my sis. Lord knows I do. Yep, Steph, you feel me? We had our color purple moment in the comment section on this post.
I saw it. I actually saw it.
Yeah, but that was a whole other trait. That was impatience. That was the second trait that I listed for my lack of patience. Okay.
All right, let's see. It's the same one. I didn't mean to do that. I think, no. Okay. See, relationships are not that difficult. People are just too lazy to make sacrifices, time, and put in effort. Relationships are not that difficult. People are just too lazy to make sacrifices, time, and put in effort.
I think relationships are not as difficult as some make them. And some people are too lazy to make sacrifices, time, and put in effort. But I don't even know if it's a laziness. I think it's a selfishness. That is rooted in selfishness. They have the energy because these same people who won't make these moves for a relationship, a romantic relationship, will be those people who are relentless at this thing. Like they know all the new comic books, they know all the new this, they know all the new engines or tires or whatever the hot thing is, or she knows all of the new shoes and when the bags come out and all of the, you know, the hottest this, that, and the third, but she ain't paying no attention and ain't making no changes, no moves for dude, you know, or and vice versa. So I wouldn't say it's a laziness because there is definite prioritization happening for time. It's just not in the relationship. So I think yeah, relationships are difficult at times, but I do not think they're as difficult as the general consensus is trying to make them right now. Yeah. They're not that hard. They're hard whenever you mesh two grown people together to try and create one thing. There's going to be some to that, sure. But it's not like what we're saying.
So I think relationships with two people who are interested in being in a relationship can be. I mean, it's going to have hard moments. It's going to have hard seasons. They're going to be hard. You know what I mean? Like, absolutely. Because to your point, you're trying to bring in two people who have two totally, in a lot of instances, two totally different everythings.
Yeah.
And bring them into a new thing, and you are bringing them into this new thing, which often causes us to have to let go of the old thing, and we have often made an idol of the thing, and we don't want to let go of the thing. Because if we let go of the thing, we being disloyal to the people who taught us the thing. And then what does that say about me if I don't do this thing? You know what I mean? Like, so it's, I think that's where a lot of the difficulty can come in, even in two people who want to be in a relationship. I think where it becomes, in terms of lazy sacrifices, I think people expect to make sacrifices in relationships. I just think that in some instances, people don't expect to make the kind of sacrifices that they're expected to make a relationship work. Because what I've learned is the very thing that we are immature in is often the very thing that the relationship will keep nagging at us until we grow the hell up. And so if, using myself in the previous example, I am dealing with this idea of my insecurity, then everything that I see, I'm going to see through the lens of my insecurity, which forces me to grow up in that area, or I'm going to continue to reject any part of this relationship that can help me grow up, which in turn is going to make the relationship harder because now it's just going to keep judging me.
Because if anything, now you've highlighted the insecurity where it might not have even existed in the first place. You've put it in spots where it never even belonged. Yeah.
So I think that's a part of it. Like I think it's the and then of course when these happen now. We're not, there's only a certain amount of effort, we're willing to put in for a lot of people. Like, hey, I'm willing to, I'm not going to be willing to look stupid. You can't do this to me. You can't, and I'm not saying people shouldn't have deal breakers, but I think there's a lot of times there are a lot less, we're not willing to be as sacrificial as needed because because again, there's definitely should be a level of reciprocity. Like there should be a level of honor. I don't buy this whole thing of I shouldn't get anything out of our relationship. But I think there are seasons where it's going to feel like that.
Yeah.
And we have to be prepared for that. Seasons, not the entire relationship.
Yeah.
But, so, and I'm not referring to abuse. Like I got to let me throw all the qualifiers in there. Right. So I'm not talking about none of that. But I mean, I think that there's going to be some of that even in healthy relationships that we have to, and I think that people don't want to do that sometimes, but I think people absolutely want to sacrifice to a level. They want to put in time to a level. They want to put in effort to a certain level, but then it's like, all right, I've done enough. I should get said return from relationship now. And since I'm not, I'm out.
I think people like to do all of those things when it doesn't feel like they're doing all those things. When it doesn't feel like I'm sacrificing, cool. When it doesn't feel like I put in a lot of time, okay. When I don't have to give up, like when it doesn't feel like, all right, cool. Like if our time together, which is ideally, I think, good. If I'm spending this time with you, if I've got to learn this, I've got to put this time in to grow and learn with you and figure out how you move, and I enjoy being with you, then that's fun. The work, the time that I'm putting in with you is great. That's good for me. But if there's something about you that I have to learn to appreciate a little bit different, if it's new to me, if it feels a little different and this time feels different, it's not fun the way that I thought it was going to be. Oh, well, wait a minute. I don't know if I want to do this because, like, you know, like there's no real, you know, so we're willing, but it don't have, it can't feel like it. And I don't know if that is always, I don't know if that's a positive.
I'll say this. I think that we'll do it when it doesn't feel like it, when we feel like I'm going to get something from it. You know what I mean? Like if my sacrifice that's uncomfortable for me is something
that's going to be hard. Yeah. I gotta see the win. Yeah.
I'm going to get the rah-rah. I'm going to get the whatever. Then yeah, I'll do that. But it's those like the consistency of when you're asked to do this and you don't get that. I think that's what people don't want to do, it to your point.
Yeah.
Because if I know me doing this thing that I hate doing that you love is going to give me some brownie points or a coupon or something, you know what I mean? Something, I do that. But if it's this is what you're supposed to do, I don't want to do that. I don't like this.
Yeah.
I don't even like this.
Because even then that goes into a whole other thing. Because like initially when you're first getting into it, I can understand you being like, okay, I need that thing at the end of that. But like after a while, I don't need you to love it. But do we have to do this reward every time now? Or is it just that this is what we, so you know what I mean? So like then that gets into this. You start a whole other reward. Are we?
Yeah.
Child.
Yeah. Some people only on incentive. They feel like they have to get something in return, or use the you did this that I don't complain and I don't complain. Yep. When it's not a noticeable inconvenience, you're right. Yep. That's definitely an option. All right, we are into the second hour. You want to go ahead and want to do your ad now?
Yeah. Actually, I'm getting ready. I'm digging for my sexy shade right in this moment. I done flashed these ashy elbows one too many times. But go ahead, mute me and do your thing.
The men be wanting sex in exchange for everything, but then they don't want you say. I mean,
don't even do it. Don't walk down that hole.
I'm trying to figure out what the problem is here.
Boy, press play.
Hey, sugars. You heard about the Blocked and Beautiful Braid Balm from Elegance by Design? The days of braids being down by heavy products that don't hold are over. Blocked and Beautiful Braid Balm is perfect for box braids, updos, and the most intricate of braid styles. Let your creative juices flow, knowing Elegance by Design has your braids on lock. Order yours now at elegancebydesign.com.
All right.
I'm not sure why we had feedback that time because I was muted.
Oh, you know what? I took myself off of mute because I didn't know if we could hear myself. So that's probably why.
Okay. Sorry for the feedback, y'all. But yes, please visit elegancebydesign.com. Get you some of that good old Blocked and Beautiful Braid Balm. While you're at it, pick you up some sexy shea butter. So you don't have ashy elbows. You get that good glow. For your skin fresh out the shower when that skin is all moist and looking for some love. Yeah, you want to go on and get that sexy shea on that good skin, and yeah, you will be good all day. So sexy shea, Blocked and Beautiful Braid Balm, all of those things. Yes, it is, Mike. Yes, it is. All-purpose product. Everybody in the house. has need for these products. So
Listen,
check me out, y'all. Check me out.
I've been using it on my beard too, so
Yep. Smells good, feels good. Yeah.
Thank me later, fellas. Thank me later. Luscious lemon cake. Hey, let me just tell you.
Look, and I'm snapping. Y'all just saw me lather myself up, and you're snapping. It ain't greasy. You're just sexy. You're just sexy, sugars. All right. Do we have any other ads before we get into this main event?
Let's go. Let's go. The slap heard around the world.
The world, Craig. The world. All right, y'all. So, like, I don't even have to go into no whole long drawn out about this, because if you have logged on at any point between Sunday and today, you know where we're going with this, okay? So Sunday night during the Oscars, just quick recap. Chris Rock was on stage doing his thing that Chris Rock does, the whole comedic thing. He makes a joke where he shouts out to Jada, who has recently shaved her head bald. And he looks over at her and is like, yeah, shout out to Jada. G.I. Jane 2 coming soon. Okay. The room does laugh. You see the camera pan to Will and Jada. Jada doesn't really, she ain't here for it. It's all over her face. Will giggles, ha ha ha, a little bit. He looks over at Wifey. Wifey shoots him back the look. And scene. Okay, at that point, Will shifts. Will shifts. And before you know it, Willie Will from Philly Phil is headed on up to the stage, okay? And I mean, brother saunters on up, like, it's going to be a thing. Chris Rock is even grinning, thinking like, hey, bro, like, you think they finna dap? And before you know it, in my good words of my good girlfriend, Miss Demetria Lucas, he Batman slaps the ish out of Chris Rock. And honestly, it's not the ish, actually. Like, when you watch the replays and things, it was not as a smack, like it was not as aggressive as like some of these people are making it sound. But like the whole moment was like, what? What? And then literally about faces and Saunders and y'all, lady, that suit though. But anyway, he saunters himself on back to the seat, sits down, and commences to holler back from the seat, keep my wife's name out your effing mouth. And then says it again, keep my wife's name out your effing mouth. With Miss Lupita with the facial expressions over your bruh's back over his shoulder. Like, right. The memes were almost instant, okay, of Sis's face. So that all went down. Chris Rock then, says, I just got the ish slapped out of Will Smith just slapped the ish out of me. Wow. Like he's visibly stunned. He stutters and stammers over the presentation of the award. He says that when he tells him keep his name out the mouth, he says, I will. Like he responds accordingly. I will. And then yeah, so that is essentially what was going on. Since then, the internet has been ablaze. It made the news. All of he did. It said all of the things. Will Smith has since apologized. There's been a fake apology that circulated from Chris Rock. If you've seen any apology from Brother Rock, it is fake news. He ain't said ish, y'all. The Rock camp ain't said a word, okay? Will has released an apology where he is saying that violence is never the answer. That's not his thing. He was emotional. He said he can take the jokes. He's here for the jokes. That's what he does. Y'all gonna kiki with me all you want. But when you brought my wife into it with her condition that she's going through, I got a little emotional, lost my cool. My bad, y'all. Okay? It's essentially, that's the gist of it. Okay? Nutshelling it. That's essentially what he said. I had a moment. I'm human. Sucks. You do some crazy things for love. Let's move on. He apologized in the moment. Like not in that moment. It was later. He said a thing during his speech where he addressed his issue, but he did not apologize to Chris Rock. In his written apology later on, he did specifically apologize to Chris. He apologized to the Venus Williams family and all of the crew for them. He hit all of the proper people when he did his actual written posted apology later on. So now that you've been properly brought up to speed, to slap or not to slap. So since then, we have been running our fingertips to the bone about should he have addressed this situation in real time on stage, or should they have addressed it later? Was it worth addressing at all? Should he have smacked the ish out of Chris Rock at the Oscars?
I'm going to say this. I think that what I would have done, especially being Will Smith, who, in my estimation, is, let's call it top 5 Black men in Hollywood, and actor in Hollywood, and top, let's call it 7 or 8 in all of
Hollywood. Yeah, Hollywood. He's A-list for sure.
Yeah. So I think my first response would have been sitting there, cut that shit out. That's enough. Now, from there, if he would have kept going, then I think I would have, I'm probably of the mind where I probably would have went to the side of the stage, waited for him to walk off, or walked out there and said, that's enough. Had he have stopped and I said and apologized, we'd have been done. Had he looked at me and said, let's keep going, at that point, I might have smacked him. I don't know though, but I just think that Will in that situation is the, and so I think in that moment his response kind of lowered him to a place that it's very hard for me to watch Will Smith lower himself to. So I'll stop there on that part because I know we're gonna keep going.
So I understood this. I got why he did what he did.
I do too.
I don't do I think I'm kind of hood sometimes. Like my respectable self wants to be like, no, you don't. The proper part, the time and place part of me is no, you don't do that. But
yes,
at the root of it, and I mean I get that, but I also understand a human person who is tired,
absolutely,
who is done and does what they do in those moments. So I'm not, I can't even really say I'm disappointed. I can't even really say I'm disappointed. Honestly, I cannot say I'm disappointed. I am honestly surprised that it has taken all this time for him to say something. I think if anything, if I'm shocked of anything, that it was this, that's the problem. That did it. Yes. But my wife is my wife, no matter what the reason is. I think together they decided that the whole entanglement thing is not going to be the hill that they die on. I think they both understood that we did not do this well. We didn't put none of this out here well, but they didn't decide to put that out there in the first place. Let us not forget that they did not choose to share that with us. They had to do damage control after it was put out there. So that whole well thought out situation didn't get to happen. So they effed that up. That whole thing. So I think they've, in a way, as a family, decided we're going to take them jokes. That's the L we just going to take. So when we now going to add something else to it, and I'm sitting here and I got the hee hee ha ha with y'all about now one more thing about my wife, I can understand why in that moment he said, F it. I'm going to deal with it. I got bail money. I got time. I got the people. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to issue my apology. They're going to talk about it for a couple of days. We've been here before. I'm going to be all right. He gonna take this L, and me too. And sometimes that's what you do. Like that part of me, I completely overstand it.
Yeah, I get that too. I think why, again, we're saying this. I have the benefit of saying this after watching it and processing it.
Right.
So
right.
I think that but I also know my temperament too. And I think my temperament is my mind is thinking long term, and that's just how I process stuff.
Yeah.
For this reaction, what is the equal and opposite reaction that's going to come? No, let me handle this a different way, or I'm gonna handle it this way, and I'm prepared for these consequences. So I can't say, obviously, I'm not there, that was the way he thought through this. So. Yeah. I think part of the thing that concerns me is that he chose that as the straw that broke the camel's back. Because, and this is part of the reason why I say, to me, it seemed like he diminished himself, because like I struggle with even who it is. Like, not because it's Chris Rock, but because it's Chris Rock. Like, he 120 pounds, and like it looked, it just I'm looking like
But y'all both grown men that have been in this industry for the same generally the same amount of time. He's had a wife, he got daughters, he's been in scandals, folks done had jokes about him, he's had a public divorce, so he's familiar with what they've been doing. It just did not last nearly as long. So
yeah,
I don't know. These are men. You can't holler I'm a small man when you got big lips. Chris talks a lot of ish. Get your weight up, bro. You can't say, and I mean, he didn't say that, but like, he ain't saying I'm 100 and whatever pounds, but like, you can't talk as much shit as Chris Rock talks. You can't make comedian your job, and then you lead with those kinds of jokes. Because if he would have done what you said, did the whole stand to the side or do all of this, that would have been fuel for the comedic fire. Oh, and everybody would be, it's a joke. Because even immediately, that's what comedians do. You can't be.
There's truth to that.
So that would have just fueled it. And then what? Like, if your escalation with your temperament would have been, and if he would have kept going, then I might would have. If that would have all happened, and now you got a whole crew of people, a whole arena or whatever, Coliseum, whatever the hell they called it, place they had for the Oscars. Everybody is now looking at the fact that I am reacting to the fact that that would have been blown way out of proportion. 30 seconds on, off, smacked, mouth closed, we moving right along, party going. Like, keep the party going. But like, what would that have escalated to had he tried to do all that? Sometimes all that, you just got to get in there, and I'm going to take this L regardless. They're going to talk about me regardless. Had he not have said nothing, if he would have reacted and did all of that, then it was, oh, now you want to, we already don't even believe Jada should be taken up for it. That is what we're talking about. Should he have even thought about protecting her in the first place?
We ain't got that far yet.
Why her? Why her? Yeah. So
the reason why the idea of it being Chris Rock is, for me, is problematic is because, first of all, if I replace Chris Rock with a Dave Chappelle, does that, who is just as slick with the mouth, who is just as, does that warrant the same response? So that's where who Chris Rock comes into place, because there is this.
Has Dave been doing jokes about Jada though? Like, I think there's a history here. We can't separate that these men have history. He's told this man before Like, so this wasn't random. Like, Will ain't just been like, that is what's boggling me about how everyone's so shocked and awed at the fact that he finally did something. These people have been memed for 2 years plus now. And he's just now saying something. But even aside from the entanglement thing, Chris Rock specifically has been told by this man, keep my family's name out your mouth. You don't speak on my family. These were friends at one point.
I don't think he's done that. I don't think he's.
He has done that. When they had that situation with the Oscar So White and all that, it wasn't hostile. He didn't do the black man. Da 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 da. He didn't do that. He sent the word through the people. Hey, stop talking about this. Chill out.
Well, that would be different. If they've had conversation before,
yes,
then that's a different a thing. If he had told him before, hey, leave my, hey, okay, the joke, whatever about was fine, then that's a different discussion.
Yes.
The other part, because to me, the other part of it was they do have a level of relationship. And so if they have this level of relationship and Chris is saying, hey, I didn't know that she had alopecia. I legitimately thought she was just cutting her hair short. Mm-hmm. Then that's different. So, right. Which is weird, but nevertheless. So
I just don't understand why you, as my boy, would want to make my wife the butt of your joke in the first place. I think is also another thing. I don't think Dave Chappelle would have made a joke about Jada Pinkett with Will sitting right there. She's not up for no award. She wasn't there. She was there supporting him. Make a joke about him. You got all this Will material out here. Why Jada?
I don't think that if he's saying he did not know that she had alopecia, that him saying that, not knowing that, to me is different than, because to me, to be honest with you, him saying the G.I. Jane comment was.
No, did you hear my thing? Why are you talking about her in the first place? It doesn't have anything whatever the joke was, if you're supposed to be in any way we are supposed to have any type of relationship. Why, if I'm the one nominated, I'm the one with the movie out right now, why is the joke even about her? Is my question. Why was that okay? Why is she even the subject of the joke?
Mm-hmm.
From man to man, like, why is that relative? Like, how? So that's why I think this has gone to why folks have so much different, because there are so many reasons why this was just not wise. All these people in this room that are here because they've actually done work that is getting recognized now for you to joke about, and you choose, homie, colleague.
You choose the most popular people that are sitting in front of you.
But I'm sitting right here. Why not me?
I hear what you're saying. What I'm saying is, I'm saying that, again, if these are the two most popular people that are sitting here, again, we don't know if he was going to say something about Will. But my point is, again, is that if he doesn't know, then that's a different context. If he's already been asked not to talk about her, then that's a different thing, all within itself. So I don't know this. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Second, here's my question. My question, what this raised for me, was, what does protection look like to you, to Black women? Because even if using the example of what I said I would do as opposed to what Will did, the conversation has been that would not feel like, to some Black women, as protection. So I would like to know, what does protection look like to Black women, and what is the expectation? And I know that's going to be different based on scenarios, but on the given scenario. But in this particular instance, let's just use the example I gave of what I would do and and how Will handled it. Why does his way feel like protection and mine does not? If it doesn't. Because to some people say it would.
Yeah. There are some people who say that what Will did was protection. I think what Will did was made a statement. Jada was not in the moment in physical danger. I think that slap was not as much for Chris as it was as much of a statement of, I'm tired of this. I am to the point where I'm no longer going to hee haw this. I'm going to do something. I'm done. So like, to me, that is not, I don't want my man out smacking everybody for my virtue behind words. But if we are looking at this as we can't put our regular old situation in their situation. So like, I look at that specific thing different. So to answer your question, as far as what protection looks like, protection looks like from my man, being there for me in those moments when I'm being disrespected, when I am being otherwise made uncomfortable, and I need you to be my protect. I need you to stand in the gap for me. And usually it's another man. If it's another woman, I got it. I need you to just be here, get the cot. But like, if it's another man, I need you to be in that space and take up for me. I need you to be wise in how you do that. But I need you to take up for me. I don't want you to cause harm to yourself. I don't want you to cause harm to me. But I need to know that if push comes to shove and you don't have the choice, you are able to do that for me. But protection looks different depending upon different situations. But I do not deny that I do have a hood streak in me. Like, I'm okay with getting active in certain situations. Like, and I think it might not be the most mature. It might not be what everybody says they would or could do, but it is what it is. Like, I have a very strong is what it is bone in me on some situations. So I think that's where I'm just kind of like, bruh, like, I'm looking at the list. Like, this is not a random occurrence. Will ain't just been doing this. This has not been, and he did all of the things. He's played all the games. He done hee-hee-hawed. He done laughed and done all the stuff. But the way that this protection of women has morphed out of this, I honestly feel that women as a whole, we're just so damn happy to see a man willing to risk something. If it was the Oscar, if it was the people to feel whatever, because enough is a damn enough about my wife on today. To see a man stand up and be in protection of a woman was just good to see. Yeah, after we thought about it, after we marinated on it and thought, well, damn, that could have been a lot to lose. And, yeah, in the moment, yeah, okay, maybe we could have had cooler heads, could have prevailed. But at the end of the day, like, that has been so rare to see on such a stage when all of this other stuff has been highlighted the way that it has for so long. I think the masses, the way that he's getting that applause is for that. I don't think that slap had anything to do with that initial situation. I don't think all this other conversation has as much to do with him getting up there and smacking the hell out of Chris Rock.
No, actually, you almost verbatim said what I said in the conversation with a group of men earlier. Was I said, I don't think that this really has to do with that. I think that what we're seeing is the exasperation or the feeling or the collective tiredness or feeling of unprotected from Black women, that to them, to see this outward display felt good. So I absolutely can see that. I think, and what brought me to that question was because I also recognize that there are times where I have, or other men have, thought that they were protecting, and their woman did not feel like what was being done was protecting in that specific instance. And
like what? Give me an example. What you mean?
So a good example would be, a personal example would be like, this is a long time ago. Me and the woman who I was with were going into a certain place, and as we were walking into said place, I saw that there were a group of people up ahead who were who I didn't know, but my spidey senses was tingling.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And like, I saw her about, like, she was talking to everybody, and I kind of like walked up to her and, like, you know how you grab somebody by the arm that's in front of you and kind of like I pulled her back to me, like, hey, kind of be cool. and she like ripped her, don't touch me. And I was like, okay. And later on, I was like, hey, I did that because this is what I saw. My spidey senses were tingling, and I don't need you to do that. And I'm like, okay, so you want me to protect, you don't want me to protect you from what I see is happening, or you do want me? Well, I do, but I don't want you to protect me like that. And I was like, I'm okay. So
she said she didn't want you.
Protect her like that, because in that moment, that's not how
did she offer what protection would look like for her? Did she know what she
in that instance to leave her alone?
Oh, and just wait for the crazy thing to happen. Okay.
So I mean, that's a personal example I've had.
That's true.
I've had other examples.
Yeah.
I've had examples of even like in the area of spending. Hey, let's not buy that right now because we can't afford that because this. No, I want to do it. Like this is my way of protecting us from said thing that could potentially happen. But if there's something that she doesn't agree with, I've had where she'll go and do it anyway, and then now I got to come back, and once the thing break bad, now I have to step in, and Superman this thing because you wouldn't allow me to protect our family from this decision. So I mean those are examples of things like, so how as a man, like in those situations when I am protecting you, like what does it look like to you? And there was some nuances to that second situation that I didn't.
I get it. Money gets touchy when it comes to when you tell me I can't buy something, that's one of what come.
Yeah. And I understand. And when we had that conversation later on, she admitted she did not see that as me protecting her. She saw that as either controlling or you don't want me to have this because you ain't got it. And I'm like,
no.
Okay.
No, that's not true. Yeah. I think these are conversations that we need to be having because, again, in every situation is going to look different. But like in both situations that you shared, that was what protection looked like for me. It was modeled to me that way from my dad. That's the way that my parents moved. Like when big crowds and things like that, my dad looked out for my mom, and James does that. James has a military background and he's very aware. Like he's the one when we out, like I'm literally like in his left, like to the right behind him. Like I move. I don't ask a whole lot of questions. We just move, and if it's, hey, we go, like I'm not, why? Like that is life for the, like I've learned that could be, I don't have time for that. We'll talk about that at the car. Let's get where we're going, those types of things. So, but that was built up over time. That was the trust that I had to have with him, because no random man, like I would give pause to a random man pulling me back because he sees me walking to a group of men and he's like, wait a minute. I would not get bucked because like I recognize that I've got positive experiences with men protecting me. I don't feel like I've been manipulated and taken advantage of in those types of situations where I should have been protected to that degree. So I'm not as apprehensive of it. But other women may have had different experience with it where their protection looks different. And I think that's just something you have to learn through relationship with your person, what that looks like. But I also understand that in the midst of the moment and protecting me, how I might expect James to protect me may not at all in any way, shape, form, or fashion align with how he actually decides to protect me in those moments. And that's not the time for me to interject and start going on and, doing it, because that can make it worse. You know what I mean? So that is what I've learned about men. When they get into that mode, you often have to just let that thing play out and be where you can after the fact, which is why I kind of was like, what the hell was Jada going to do to stop Will, his 6'4", 200 and some mad ass self on his way to smack the shit out of Chris Rock? Like, how was her little bitty pocket pal self what was she going to Will, like, other than create a huge scene from like, let's just let him and do what they do. So like, I think we have to be realistic about that sometimes our men are just going to do what our men are going to do out of protection of us. And there's not really a whole lot that we can do in those moments. when they decide it's go time. My daddy's the same way. My mama has been in them situations. Case, like no, like because he goes. That's one of them. It's go time.
Goes there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, when you go, you can't.
Absolutely. Like you get cool, calm, collective me for a moment, and then when it's like you said, when it's time to make it happen, it's time to make it happen.
That's it.
Yeah. I get that. I think that again. I think that one of the things we've got to, that as men, that we have to acknowledge again is the overwhelming feeling of the collective, as the collective of Black women feeling like that. I think the other thing that we have to also recognize is the difference in is that sometimes in the moment, just because this in the moment feels good, it might not necessarily be the right thing to do.
Right. I think he even said that.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, I think, but so I'm saying, I think that this is like, these are, so as a man, I sometimes have to have that conversation later. And I'm saying in the sense of, if she would have said, how come you ain't go up and slap him? You know what I mean? Like, then this is, listen, hey, hold on. I'm going to handle this way because we gotta move different. Like, we gotta, don't worry. If I need to smack, I'm gonna do them at the after party, and but we gonna handle this. So I think that sometimes then we also have to be prepared, and that's the part of that leadership that sometimes stinks. That to take the initial questioning, so that but then still handling it later on, so that way they understand, like your partner understands, I did not just let this go unnoticed. Like, this is something that I'm going to take care of, and then actually take care of it. And I think, like you said, to your point, over time, it does build the trust to understand, oh, he does really have me. He's not just out here trying to either let somebody punk me or punk him, or, he's good. So I think we have to consider that too. Shanae asked the question. She said, would it have been protection if Will brought Jada on the stage and told people enough is enough, and that he loves his wife and that she's beautiful, and to keep his wife's name out your effing mouth? I mean, I think
I would have wanted that.
I think that's the question for Jada. I don't think that he would have needed to bring her up there to do that. If he wanted to do that, I don't think he would have had to bring her up there to do it. I think he could have said it. He could have said that same very thing by himself, and if that's what he wanted to do. But I think if he wanted to, I think that, again, that Will Smith is powerful enough that if Will Smith publicly says, I want y'all to leave Chris Rock, I want you to leave my name, my wife's name out your mouth, I think Chris Rock and most everybody else is going to. Are there going to be people who are going to ignore it? Absolutely. But I think, again, even with this slap, there are going to be other people who are going to still say it and tell him, I dare you, I wish you would come up on this stage. So, I mean, 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other. So, but he's Will, again, I think he's Will Smith. So good for, as a man, he's Will Smith. And as a star, he's Will Smith. So, he does get room to be human. So, Pastor Tynes, my doctor, the media and movies have taught us not to respect the Black woman or the Black man. Smith did not allow disrespect of his Black woman, his Black wife, and the movie King Richard. He made sure that was represented also. Educated and Black professional, we must psychologically ask themselves, why am I not cheering and am standing up for Black men as a race, or have I been subtly compromised by the world and media? Yep, good question. Thoughts on that, Q?
Oh yeah, this has totally been this whole shenanigan, all of this. Yeah. From way back before the Oscars, like the whole reason why we talk about the Smiths the way that we do, is media. Like, I have my issues with them and how they put themselves in this way. because like I said at the beginning, they did not do this well. And even at the opportunities to correct it and be the voice that they have tried to be for alternative lifestyles and free love and free all that other stuff, they have fumbled this so disastrously when all they had to do by trying to make it cute and give us pieces of it instead of just saying what it is. So like they have some ownership in why this has spun to the degree that it has.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, when all of that is done, and you know that movie stars gonna do what movie stars do, like when you get to the root of it all and you hear what it is that's actually happening, you see it, the fact that we still allow the media to allow us to state such ridiculousness when we know it is not to be the truth, and then spin that into how we have other conversations. Like we've been manipulated from the go with this. And it only exacerbates the reason why women can be so excited to see him run up and slap another black man and call it protection. Like the way that the media spins these things and how they show up in our real life interactions is what really just is the social experiment. That is the experiment. It's not the protection of black women and the respectability of it and the all of that. It's even when we know what we know about a thing, we allow ourselves to be manipulated and moved around to see it to be something different, or the fact that we care so much in the first damn place. So yeah, the media and the fact that we as black people know what manipulation looks like and the ways that it can affect our communities to the way that it does, the fact that we are the main target of this type of stuff is really I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, he said, my point is black men standing up for black women and black women standing up for black men. It should never cross Chris Rock mind to publicly disrespect a black woman. Educated black men are so nonviolent that they are wearing dresses. Shanae says, I have 3 brothers and I know they'll die behind me, so I haven't ever involved them because I can walk away. I personally feel they should have protected each other in that moment. Whatever is best for the unit is what goes for them. Mike says, should it be a defense at any cost? I didn't see that.
I think he was okay with the cost, whatever it was. I don't know. Give me more words on that, Mike. Give me more on what you mean by that.
I want to go back to this, but we ain't got time. Oh, okay. We're gonna have to make time for this one. So I had a conversation yesterday about this. It was this point about they should have protected each other. The comment that somebody just made. So Jamie and I had the comment about this yesterday, the conversation about this yesterday. And I asked her the same question, like, would you have wanted me to go and slap him? Mm-hmm. And she made the comment to me that she said that her first reaction most likely would have been to grab my arm. Mm-hmm. And she said, because in my mind, I think about, like, could you get arrested? And this moment is for you, she said. But then, and this is the point I want to get to, I thought was very interesting. She said, but then I also have to remember that as a black woman, I am often called upon to push down how I feel and what's beneficial and what I need in said moment. Mm-hmm. And in this moment, would I have wanted to push down how I was feeling if I was feeling embarrassed and exposed and unprotected? Or would I have wanted you to go up there and slap the fool out of him? Mm-hmm. And she said, I would love to say that I would. She said, but I just think about the many times in my life, in my relationships that I've had to do that, and I really don't know. Mm-hmm. I was like, That's a very, and so that for me helped me understand why this comes to this whole collective
Where I love her.
thing of this collective feeling of what it feels like. And my comment to her was I totally can understand that, because I think, as a man, I've had to do that too, but maybe not but I don't deal with an emotion as much as you do. So there's a depth to that I don't probably understand, because I can logic away a lot of my feelings when I am in certain situations. Not that women can't, let me throw that out there, but that there's a deeper feeling that comes with, in generalization, don't shoot me, with ladies than how men process in general. So I was like, okay, it makes, there's some nuance there again that makes sense to me.
Because it's almost like we have to think so much on, because Jamie's point was so good, because it's like we are constantly in protection of one another. So many of our relationships, so many of our family units were created and stayed together out of the protection of one another, to the point where when we needed protection individually, often we couldn't do it because there was so much necessity for the unit to stay protected. Right. So we do not know how to. If you ask Black men, even, how would she protect you? Just protect me. Women, how do we want? It was hard for me to answer earlier. How would I want protection to happen for me? Because it doesn't happen that way. Usually we are in battle or in fight together. There is a warring together that's happening. So we do not know how to let it happen for us in either direction. So this whole idea of she ain't and he ain't and we ain't, and what, we don't know how, because we've only known how to do it together, which is, in my opinion, why we're doing so badly at doing things apart right now, because we are meant to do it together. So we don't know how to even say, I need you, baby. Speak for me. I need you. Get that, please. Because then we have to do, if he can't, what can we do? If she can't, then how do we do? Now I've only identified one more weakness that we have to deal with. If we can't, we are just now to a point where we could possibly be in a position to protect one another. So if you get to Will and Jada status, earlier in the conversation, we talked about how the top 5 Blacks, top 10 everybody's.
Which I thought about.
At what point do you get to show out and say, I'm going to protect mine today, and y'all going to do what you do? But instead, because we're not used to it, we're not ever in those positions, can't even fathom. He about to risk it all, y'all. He gonna lose it all. No, at this point, when you get to that point, you should be able to, as crazy as that may sound, of all that work, all that ridicule, all that disrespect, all that whatever, baby, get them. And I'm gonna sit here and look like a boss as you do it, and I'm gonna clap when you get your outfit, and we're gonna ride out and go to the house. Because you know what I'm saying? If you just want to bare bones and then take all of what the people looking at and how they feel and what they gonna think and what they gonna say, at what point do you get to protect yours?
Yeah, and I think that's a very valid point. I think that the point, the greater point, not the greater point, but the other part of that again is, in the process of doing that, in that moment, what protecting each other looks like. I don't think that she could have grabbed his arm, but nevertheless, whatever.
And you would have seen him doing this as he was on his way.
That's a possibility. I think what we're hearing, just like we're hearing the collective, to your point, the collective thing of ladies, what you just said, of ladies saying, I want to be protected, is men who are saying, like you're saying, to your point, we want to all, we either A, we're trying to protect you, or B, we thought you were protecting you, or C, but you got me, protect me. Like we're supposed to be doing this together. And I feel the same way. And I think as a collective, we need to take that step back. And to Dr. Time's point, set this new thing of, again, I'm not going to ever disrespect or allow my partner to be disrespected. Again, how that looks might be different because everybody ain't gonna slap you. And people, I made the comment. I was like, hey, people got guns these days. Like, so I know you got to be wise too. So there's a level of wisdom, but as a community, as a whole, we do have to do better. We have to do better with one another, because back to the earlier point, we still have to honor each other just as much as we have to protect each other.
Yep.
And that's hard. That's going to be hard. So that was actually my final word. So what's your final thoughts?
Just, I don't even know. I've had so many thoughts about this situation over the last, because it hit so much for me, but I would just really like us to look at the humanity of a thing. Mm-hmm. I think empathy could go a long way in not only this situation, but a lot of our situations where we are quick to say, this is a part of it, or this is the cost, or, those types of things. I think if we shift that and just think, if you were to get there, where's that coming from? When we are we're quick to minimize a person because they have the appearance of, minimize the experience of a person because they have the appearance of being strong enough to handle it. But a bank account don't give you strength. Notoriety, just because people holler your name does not necessarily create a level of strength in you that gives you superpowers that are supposed to level you up past all the rest of humans. That's not what happens.
No, that works.
That's not how that works. So I just think sometimes and then think about what our reluctance to empathize does to our real life community. That's an extended fam. Will and them, all them folks that we talking about, that's extended fam. And I say it, I think this is like the third week in a row. Damn, this is like the third, I think it is, but like, we have to really pay attention in how what we put out there for those that we can't touch affects the folks that we do touch. Mm-hmm. They are not, if I'm going through it, I'm not separating the fact that was Will and them from that's me and them when I come to you, because you've shown me when there's no heart involved, how you truly feel. That's the bare bones of it all. So how do I know if I'm already feeling low, like I'm not enough, that my thing is worth hiding, that when I bring it to you, whatever that thing is, or whatever that protection might be, whatever that deficit is, that you're going to cover it the same, that you're going to secure me the same way. You're going to protect me the same way. You're going to love me the same way, honor me, respect me the same way. From the people that you say that you love. Call me when you need me. I'm there. I'm your person. Girl, I'm there for you. Girl, why didn't you call me? Why would I call you? And are we ready to so just think. My final words are just really think, reverse. Look at what that would be like if it were you, and then think, will you really want to do all that? Like, you gonna keyboard gangster that hard? If it was your baby, if it was you, if it was like, y'all be easier on each other this next week, please.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, we've got. I think that from this, my hope is that we really we listen more than all of us, that we listen better to the other person, because even if you don't agree with what he did, I think you also gotta feel something for a man who said, I've had enough. And whether it's, I've read everything from he's sick and mentally, I've read all of that, and those might be true, I don't know. But even if those are true, that still to me says that this is a man. These are people, they're humans. And so again, but ultimately as a community, we gotta do better, because there is not a such thing as an invaluable black woman or a black man. And I need every last one of y'all. So I need you at your best. So good discussion. Y'all join us Thursday night. I'm sure this will continue. Thursday night, especially if we get another apology. So y'all Thursday night, Scoop on Clubhouse. Y'all join us 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central on Clubhouse. I'll put the link in the comments. Y'all join us Thursday. Q, as always, you the real deal, sister.
We got through it. We did it.
Yeah.
Y'all don't tag me in nothing else, Will and Jada. I'm done for a minute. I won't talk about it.
Y'all, thank you in the comments. Y'all, we appreciate y'all. Really good comments tonight. Thank you all for always rocking with us. If you have not hit that share button, do it. If you missed a part of it, find us on SoundCloud at The Scoop Show, or you can watch this replay video on YouTube or on Facebook. What else we got? That's it. Am I missing anything? All right. Peace. Good night.